Here I have another great review. There's not one single person growing up in the 1970s that doesn't remember the famous ad for the X-ray glasses. It was every single comic book, I would say, not only comic book, but magazines like Popular Science, Mechanics, a lot of the Teen Beats magazine, they would always have ads for the famous X-ray specs. Now, what are the X-ray specs and what's the history behind it? Well, it's kind of hard to tell exactly when they were invented because originally the person that first started selling what we know as the X-ray tube was Sir Rain Adams from the SS Adams Company back in the early 1900s. Later on, many people, had their own versions of the X-ray tubes and it was sold, but then came Harold. Harold Van Brohut, the owner of the original company it was called back then Honey Toy Industries, and later he went on to change it to TransScience Corporation. People that don't know who Harold is, he's the guy who innovated ideas such as the sea monkeys, that every comic book had the sea monkey, and he was probably one of the greatest, I wouldn't say inventor, but what he did is he would take products and he would somehow put it together and innovate it into something totally different and make a fortune because Harold sold millions of dollars worth of goods to us growing up. Now, I met Harold back in 1986, I believe it was, actually might have been 1984, in the Jacob Javits Toy Trade Show. He had an office down in like I said in previous videos, he had an office in 200 Fifth Avenue, which was called the Toy Building. But the reason I mentioned the story of Harold and stuff is because when Harold came up with the X-ray glasses, so the idea behind it, where he took the X-ray tube and then he had the X-ray glasses, originally had a feather inside, and the feather caused a light to be distorted. And when you looked up against the light, it caused the illusion that you were seeing bones. And he took off with that, and then the rest is history. But anyway, here's a little history of here's a couple of samples of the X-ray glasses. Now, this one here is one of the original X-ray specs, and this was by Honey Toy Industries, which later, of course, became TransScience Corporation. These ones were my very first ones that I had there. So you could see they're plastic. So I bought those at a very, very little young age. And then the ones that China got a hold of it, of course, if I believe China, Hong Kong, I think it's Hong Kong, I'm sorry. They started making the X-ray goggles, which was a knockoff of the X-ray glasses. Harold in his time sued a lot of companies that were selling this. One of those companies was actually Fun Factory, the one that I got to own with Lou Weiss, because he was selling the knockoffs, and Harold had a patent on the American version of the X-ray glasses. As time went on, and the history behind the reason he says that he told me the original story is that a company called Franco-American Novelties Company, which Franco-American is very popular. Of course, I'm not talking about the soups and the Franco-American raviolis, no. Franco-America was a company out of Glendale, New York that sold novelties wholesale to countless thousands of companies. And they were around for quite some time. And one of the things they did supposedly is Harold told me that he loaned the dye for the plastic glasses to the owner, and somehow in China he lost the dye. So what Harold told me then is that he had to go on and then make a cardboard version of the X-ray glasses. And this is one of the earlier ones where it was offered for people like me, for example, in mail order. It would come in a poly bag and, had the instructions inside, but it's made of cardboard. It had the same, feather. If you could see the small little thing, there was a feather in it. And, the glasses evolved. Then by accident, one day while Harold was in the warehouse or whatever, where they were working on the X-ray glasses, by accident, they found that the film that they were using would cost the same image as using a feather. So voila, a new version of the X-ray glasses was born, which had a film instead of a feather here. If you could see, the holes are slightly bigger. I don't know if you could tell that they're bigger there. And, you know, that's because one has a film. And here again are, you know, the original poly bags. This one here has the feather. This one here, which has a bigger hole, has the film. And originally these poly bag versions were sent for people that sold through the mail, because most of this stuff was always sold through Johnson Smith, Honor House and stuff. But by the time Honor House was out of business, this version of the glasses didn't exist. They only had the original. Johnson Smith, you know, later on, since they only went out of business about a year ago, believe it or not, they still sold the X-ray glasses. So they had sold this type, which came in a poly bag. For people that had stores and stuff like that, they also offered this one. Now, this particular one here is a smaller, you know, where it's a poly bag inserted with the instructions, and over here you have the bag. You see, what they did with the film that a lot of people don't realize is when they had the film over the feather, if you put your hand up to a light and you look through the film, the word X-ray vision appears. A lot of people go, I can't. Yep. If you look through any modern day X-ray glasses, you look up at the light or you look out at a street lamp and you're going to see the word X-ray vision. Here I have it's a little, you know, older. This is kind of like the first version. This is the more modern one. You see how it's a small. This is a poly bag. This actually came into a cardboard, and they put the glasses there. Now, I have probably over 300 pairs of the X-ray glasses, because when I had in my store, I used to always sell them, and I used to sell them through the mail, and I bought a lot, and I have, which now they become collectibles, and some are selling on eBay. This original Honey Toy Industry ones are selling for as much as $500, which is crazy. I think anybody who pays $500 for that is nuts, but the one guy's asking $500. He'll never get it. Most you could probably get is $100 for it or something like that. I don't think $500 is justifiable for a price for a pair of, you know, X-ray glasses. But the plastic versions, which is in reality they were pretty cheap. You know, like if you try to put them on, they kind of, they're not that great. They aren't really that great even in plastic. The cardboard version here, again, you can see in the back. You see. But if you see here, they've just used the original instructions. The more modern one here actually shows you that, I don't know if you can see it, but you can see where it says that you could see the X-ray logo. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm assuming. So like I said, I'm not 100% sure. I think all the ones that have the film say that. This one here that's sealed, I don't have one to really look through to know if it does or not. I'm not sure. But I think they all have the same thing. I was trying to see if this one was open so I can look through it and stuff, but anyway, I think when the film came out, it was the same time they put the word X-ray vision on it. And having said that, guys, this is another great review. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to our channel. Listen to our podcast. It's every Wednesday, actually every Thursday morning at 12 a.m. So Wednesday midnight, we have a new podcast each and every week. My co-host Joe Pavlansky and Chuck and Sherry, we're always coming up with some adventure stuff to talk about. It's great. It's been growing. We do have a viewership right now, actually listenership of about close to 6,000 people per week. We're reaching all parts of the world. I was shocked to hear that we're heard in Saudi Arabia. I was really shocked about that. But anyway, guys, here's the story of the X-ray glasses. If you guys want to ask any questions, please comment below. I'll be more than happy to try to get back to everybody. I'm still having a tough time putting my storage facility together, and I'm finding different things. And as I find different things, I will bring more original stuff. Like when I recently did the review with the Pirate of the Caribbean models, I'm going to bring my original Pirates of the Caribbean model, which unfortunately, I only have 3 left. I lost the rest in the fire. I never had more than 5 actually, but I lost 2 of them in the fire. I don't know exactly which were the ones I didn't have as a kid, but when I find my 3 that I do have, I'll know which ones I didn't have. All right, having said that, thank you. Again, subscribe. See you next time.
All you cool ghouls and friendly fiends to the House of the Unusual. Join the maestro of mail order mysteries, Eddie Guevara, and Joe Pavlasky from Crypt of Classics as they take you on a journey of magic, mystery, and vintage pop culture. With them is world-renowned horror magician Chuck Caputo and his exclusive line of horror magic kits, only available here. Join in the weekly podcast and hear from industry-leading guests and collectors alike. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for amazing videos. If that weren't enough, visit houseoftheunusual.com and connect on the free forum.